ConocoPhillips operates about 10,000 wells here in the basin, which is an incredible number of wells to try and manage on a daily basis. And so as a simple example, when we do well reviews and look at what our wells should be delivering, if we spend 5 minutes per well, it takes about 9 months to go through that process.
Everything below us down here is our Menta Canyon. If you get up on the big Harris Mesa benches, those benches are just littered with wells, approximately 500 all total. And now with the new well spacings that they approved, we'll go from about 500 to about 1,500 within the next 20 years.
We drill, it averages about 350 new wells per year. When you take the Colorado side and include that, we think that ConocoPhillips has probably another 10,000 wells that we will drill in the basin over the next 40 years, say.
The sharply increased drilling on Gilbert Armenta's ranch is typical of what has happened to vast expanses of northern New Mexico land. A satellite image shows the crisscrossing patterns of access roads and wells extending for hundreds of miles across San Juan County and northwest New Mexico.
The land surface has been scarred up so bad that I can't recognize it from the first time I saw it.
So there we go, Tim. Just how big of a mass is 460 tons of enriched nuclear fuel?
Well, it depends how enriched it is, but let's say it's very enriched at 90%. And we know that to make a conventional nuclear warhead takes 5 kilos, which is about
10 pounds.
10 pounds, yeah. And we know that the Americans and Russians can make one out of 2 kilos, but the standard 10 pounds, 5 kilos, which means that each ton of pure uranium-235 or plutonium would make 200 weapons. So each of, say that's highly enriched, really dirty fuel, say it's 90%, that's maybe 180 weapons per ton, which works out nigh on to be 83,000 warheads worth of fallout.
83,000, don't leave that too quickly. 83,000. 80,000. Let's call it 80,000. All right.
82,800.
And this is all, this is, remember, this is all either going to hit the ground or develop cracks, this fuel pool.
No, the steel will last forever, because remember the BBC and all the Western media have forgotten about Fukushima. Right. The BBC have said it's totally saved, Tescos saved the Japanese. And we know the British BBC, which is the figurehead of news around the world, wouldn't lie to us, would it?
Never. Not a chance.
Would it lie? Would the British scum vermin, Broadcasting Association, corporation, scumbag, media whores lie to anybody?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. But that fuel pond's got about 83,000, give or take 10,000 or so warheads worth of fallout. And remember, the Americans say they've got 5,000 warheads ready to go. They've got plenty more they can make. We know the Russians have got 2,000. So we know that World War III, I call World War III the fall of the Soviet Union, which was done by paranormal means, occult means. And I call World War IV the nuclear blitzkrieg between America and Russia. That's 7,000 warheads, and we know the British have got 500 or so ready to go, and the French similarly so. So one can say that if that explodes, that's equivalent to the fallout from 11 world wars.
What the frack is going on in England right now?
We've got earthquakes.
I know.
We have earthquakes in East Texas, of all places. I grew up in East Texas. We didn't have earthquakes growing up. All of a sudden, they're having 4.0s, 5.0s even. It's crazy.
Yeah. We've had 2 earthquakes in Blackpool, which is near Liverpool. You don't get earthquakes in England anyway. Well, actually, there was a small earthquake about 20 years ago in Wales. It was a 2.8 or something. It's very unusual. 2 earthquakes in a very short period of time. That made everybody wake up a bit and ask what's going on. Of course, what's going on is that they're drilling these holes down into this layer of shale, and they're pumping this weird cocktail of chemicals into the Earth's crust. They say that they're using citric acid, which you get from oranges and lemons. Like hell they are. Fracking fluids are actually a trade secret. There's companies that are involved in the fracking game, which is, pumping this fluid into this shale that forces gas that's trapped in the shale up to the surface. There's companies involved in this that have actually voluntarily paid fines in order to keep their trade secret. Now, the main component of the fracking fluid is, guess what?
Children's blood.
Hydrochloric acid. I don't know.
Well, there are acids. Yes, there are acids, and hydrochloric is one of the suspect chemicals which people believe is being used, and also hydrochloric acid. The main chemical that is being used, get this, is diesel fuel. They're pumping hundreds of thousands of litres of diesel into the Earth's crust. Can you imagine what the legacy to be for our grandchildren?
And the wildlife, the poor wildlife that lives in these areas,
yes.
you can just imagine what they're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had 2 earthquakes in Blackpool. You go to Blackpool, it's near the seaside, and, there's fun fairs there, and it's like, a family kind of place, and people sit around wearing those silly Kiss Me Quick hats and having candy floss and ice creams. There's 2 earthquakes there.
Wow.
And obviously there was a bit of a public outcry, and it was revealed that the earthquakes were caused by these giant holes and all of this diesel fuel being pumped into the Earth's crust near Blackpool. So the British government, they say, oh, okay, we're going to ban it. Okay. Well, how long did that ban last for? Not very long. The puppet politicians in Her Majesty's government gave the go-ahead to start fracking again. And I know Max has been on the show, and he's been talking about fracking in various parts of the world. This is like the Klondike gold rush, except it's for some kind of gas which they believe is going to, bring in huge profits. Once the gas is brought up to the surface, then what happens is that there is a secondary ecological catastrophe that then starts taking place. The gas is then sometimes liquefied, other times it's still in its gaseous form. It's loaded into these giant trailer trucks.
Wow.
Trailer trucks are driving through little tiny medieval English villages.
Wow.
And, it is just the biggest ecological disaster, you could ever imagine. I've been posting up various video clips about fracking. There are peer-reviewed papers. Some of those papers have been written by people that used to work and used to be advocates, and they used to promote fracking. And they, worked at these companies, and now they've come out dead set against it. They've got videos on their blogs and I've been sharing those out for since basically the end of October last year.
Well, it's a global crisis, Chris. I mean, we're having it here in the United States as well, down in Texas, where we've never had earthquakes before. We're having 5.0s and 4.0s.
They just had one 12 hours ago.
Yeah, they're not as devastating as, say, the Fukushima earthquakes, but still, it's very odd for the region. Here in Colorado, we had earthquakes where nowhere close to a fault line. Mm-hmm. And it's got to be the fracking. We've exhausted every other possibility. I mean, we've talked about cosmic events causing earth changes. We've talked about many different things. We've even gone so far as to talk about reptilian bases underground being destroyed. No, it's the fracking, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what it's about.
That's right. And if they're using fuel, I mean, you know, what happens when you go to a gas station and you take the filler cap off? You get this massive load of vapors coming out of your petrol tank. Yeah. So if they're using fuel, everything's cool when they're actually pumping the stuff in. But then obviously there's a huge amount of evaporation that happens. That leaves a void, and then the ground collapses. So it's a very, very, very serious problem. Also, I have to ask myself, I mean, I posted a thing up on Facebook a few weeks ago. Is there a risk that this is going to create forest fires, wildfires and bushfires in the future? And a few people posted up replies saying, well, diesel fuel is not flammable like that. Now, I thought that the Hollywood movies were creating those huge explosions using diesel fuel. Am I wrong about that?
I believe you're right about that. Michael Bay would be a good person to ask. That's all he knows how to do is make explosions. No storyline, no plot, no character building, nothing at all. Nothing but explosions.
Well, I think what's coming next for the UK, if you guys aren't careful out there, is sinkholes. Because we've had this huge sinkhole in Bayou Corn, Louisiana. That just popped up out of nowhere, and it has grown to 8.5 acres.
Shh, nobody's talking about it. You're not supposed to talk about the sinkhole in Louisiana.
Yeah, there's another sinkhole. I got photographs sent to me from Popeye, federaljack.com, and it's filled, this sinkhole, it sort of appeared like they do overnight, and it filled itself with some weird sludge. It's like a mystery where this sludge has even come from. Have you seen that? It's in California.
I have not seen it, no, but I've heard people discussing it before.
Yeah, it is like really thick. It looks icky. It looks horrible. It's like, it's just a mystery what this stuff is.
Here's the big question, though, Chris. Okay, they seem to be moving at an accelerated rate to strip and acid mine the resources of planet Earth. Now, we theorize that there is some global catastrophe that they're prepping for, and they know that it doesn't matter anyways because something's going to affect the entire surface of the Earth anyways, so they're trying to pull out as much as possible. However, I don't see any evidence of any kind of global catastrophe coming, so why are they doing this knowing that they're destroying their own planet? This is where they have to live too. So what do you think it is? It can't be something as pedestrian as corporate greed or anything like that. Can it?
Yeah, that's right. That is a question which I think is, I would say, is the number one question. Many people ask me, these people are humans that are running, companies like BP and all of these fracking companies. Why are they poisoning the seas? Why are they poisoning the soil? Why are they poisoning the sky with chemtrails? These people are human. Why can't they see that their children are going to be choking the same as the children of the poor? My reply is that, and I've looked into this over many, many years. I don't want my statement now to sound as if it's off the cuff. These people are following a demonic agenda.